Hello, hello, I'm Red Zed, and this is a totally blind playthrough of Tyranny by Obsidian Entertainment. I'm going to play on normal this time, just because I have no idea what I'm doing. I have not researched anything about character creation or the story options, you know. Let's learn.
For over 400 years, the armies of Kyros the Overlord have swept across the known world. All who stood against them fell before their might. Even the Archons, women and men of immense power, were forced to kneel, chained to the Overlord's will. Now
Not literally.
Kyros' final conquest has come to our corner of the world, and two of the Overlord's armies compete for the honor of taking our lands. The elite disfavored, and the teeming horde of the Scarlet Chorus. The voices of Nerat, spy master and archon of secrets, guides the fierce and undisciplined masses of the Scarlet Chorus. With each battle, the Scarlet Chorus grows stronger, as the defeated are given a simple choice: serve or die. Graven Ash, Archon of War and the Overlord's most loyal general, leads the disfavored. Though small in number, Kyros' ironclad legion has never met true defeat in open battle. Watching over the two generals is Tunon, the Adjudicator, Archon of Justice, eldest of Kyros' minions. Tunon brings Kyros' laws to newly conquered lands, aided by the Fatebinders, judges and executioners of the Overlord's laws. You were among the youngest of the court of Fatebinders when Kyros' armies came to our lands. How could we have known that the fate of thousands would rest in your hands?
My semi-capable hands. Don't worry. This kingdom is safe in my hands, I hope. I don't know what I'm doing, but... Okay, character creation. As we must always begin, we begin with character creation. Let's just see, we got gender, obviously. Although sex might be the more appropriate word there. Body type. Okay, so this is the middle body type. We can be tall and lanky. We can be like the Tick. A lot of superheroes are kind of this build, I guess. I don't know. Do I want to go average? Or let's go tall. Tall and lanky. We're pretty pale. Not that pale, though. Okay, let's go with this. Next. I was born in the Northern Empire, I read there. Okay. So, face. This looks a bit tired and wizened. That looks like Dazzle Novak. I think I'm gonna go with that one. Nah, this one's good. Okay. Hair. Alright. Now it's COVID, so hair gets pretty wild these days. That's a decent one, I guess. Mohawk. Here we go. That's the COVID hair that I think most people probably have these days. Something a little mullet-like. That's the do-it-yourself COVID haircut. Ooh, Raziel hair. I'm a huge fan of Soul Reaver and Legacy of Kain in general. I'm probably going to go with this one. This is a COVID haircut if you've broken lockdown restrictions. And this is pretty similar to my COVID hair. COVID hair if you're neat and tidy, I guess, or if you're a huge Steven Seagal fan. And COVID hair if you own a pair of automated clippers. Buzz cutters. Alright. The whole COVID selection. Okay, we're gonna go with Raziel, though. That's pretty badass. Huge Soul Reaver fan. And facial hair. Yeah, we don't want to look like Abe Lincoln. That's kind kind of weird. The Stalin mustache or Torchlight Engineer mustache. Little Wolverine chops. I'm gonna go with none of these because I'm not a huge fan of those. Hair color, dark brown, that's fine. Voice.
That wasn't so hard.
That wasn't so hard.
On the lookout. I'm injured, tired. Let's rest.
No, not going for that.
Interesting. Heads up, we have company.
It's a bit too gruff.
You learn something every day. Yeah, I'll just hold on to this.
Yeah, that's fine. That's good. Just right. Tattoos. Okay. Let's take a look. I don't think I'm going to go for any of these. But we'll see what they've got. Hand tattoos. That's pretty subtle. Not so bad. Face tattoos. Much less subtle. That one's pretty cool, actually. I don't mind that. That one's also pretty cool. I think I might actually use that. A tree of some sort. Okay, some star. Oh, and the back of the legs. Okay. Arms. Leg snakes. Something fairly subtle. Nothing on the back. Yeah, I like the tree one. That one's pretty nice. Okay. Let's decorate that. Yeah, green tree, and I want the roots to be dark red. There we go. That looks cool. Portrait time. Now my favorite thing in fantasy characters, especially when I'm making a character for things like Baldur's Gate or Icewind Dale or whatever, my favorite thing is spears and frost magic. Those are my two favorite things. My two favorite things are spears and frost magic. This guy looks like he has a spear. And then we're getting into more feminine portraits. Okay. That one's not so bad. Double swords. But I don't really want to wear heavy armor, do I? I'm gonna go with this one, even though I'm probably not gonna use whatever kind of magic that is. Or maybe I'll go with this image. It's pretty cool. I kind of wish I could choose that after I choose my other stuff, but... How did I join Kyros' army? I'm guessing not by choice. From what little I know of it. I'm just going to speed read over these. I don't think I want to be a pit fighter. I don't really want to be a hunter. Definitely not a guild apprentice. Definitely not noble. We hate nobility. Diplomat? Probably not. War mage? Nah. Lawbreaker sounds pretty cool. Accused of a crime I definitely did commit. Okay, so I might go for that. Soldier, unable to settle year's accounts with grains. My parents offered me as a tithe instead, which is pretty nice. That's a pretty cool story. Although it seems to put me with the disfavored legion, and I think they kind of suck. I don't know. Scarlet Chorus seems to be more my thing, from what little I know of it. I'm gonna go with Lawbreaker. Primary expertise. Now I like spears, and I see frost magic, and something you don't see very much in games like this, javelins. Of course, I don't see a spear option. So I'm thinking javelin is going to be pretty cool. Oh, we get to see what it looks like too. All right. I'm really digging that hoplite kind of look. Sword and shield, very basic. Two-handed. Shortbow starts to make me look more like some assassin. Oh, Okay, this is what the wizards look like. Frozen Grasp. Nah. I don't know, I think Javelin is such a rare opportunity. I'm gonna have to take it. Let's see. Heart Shot does bleeding for 20 seconds and Hobbled for 30. So ideally I'm gonna have a tank in my party, so I don't think I'm gonna need this quite as badly. We're going with Heart Shot. Yeah, so that's cool. We're gonna be able to do ranged attacks and melee attacks, I assume. I mean, definitely seems like it would be that kind of weapon. And we can also receive training in... Oh, some of these have changed. So now we have Spear and Shield, so that's pretty interesting that that's come up. A War Mace for Heart Shot. Oh no, sorry, that's not related. War Mace. You can see what these look like. Okay, that actually looks pretty cool. I like that. Short bow, that hasn't changed. And these have not changed. Unarmed seems kind of boring. Although I'm sure it's actually a lot more fun than it looks. It tends to be in these kinds of games. Javelin again? Oh, so I can get the Hobble ability and the Heart Shot? That's probably not terrible. Although Spear and Shield... I think I'm probably going to go this route. And let's see, Shield Slam. That's a very nice basic ability. Or Sunder. To reduce the target's armor. That is probably a really good one too. (10 to 15 Crush, 9 to 15 Pierce. This is versus Endurance, and this is versus Parry. Okay, so I am very familiar with Pillars of Eternity, and I'm kind of assuming, like that's what I'm working with when I think about combat in this game. That might be a mistake, I don't know, but we'll find out. We will find out. Okay, I'm gonna go with Sunder. I mean, dealing with enemy armor is always kind of nice, isn't it? My character's colors. Okay. Yeah, I mean, can't go wrong with black. It looks pretty good. Black and red. And banner customization. Okay. If we could do something with a spear in it, that would be ideal. That comes fairly close. That one I kind of like as well. Ooh, this one looks perfect. And that's what we're going to go with. And I think these are, like, that's the two armies, right? Scarlet Chorus and Disfavored. That one I think is Kyros, and this one must be another Archon. I can do the colors, but honestly, I don't know. Black and gold, you can't go wrong with that. So definitely going like that. Let's name you. I'll name you Durago. And finally, we get to attributes. I kind of thought that would come earlier, to be honest. But I guess it makes sense that this comes after choosing our weapon styles. Let's see. So immediately, these are different from Pillars of Eternity. Obviously, Might's going to need some love, because that's going to be our attack and ability strength. Definitely need to put some points into that. Accuracy, armor, deflection, ability and spell cooldown. And different things. Okay, so I don't know enough about this game yet to sync any of these. So I'm gonna have to be careful. Also, the other thing I don't know is if this is gonna be like Pillars of Eternity, where what I select now is gonna be permanent, and I can't get additional points through level up. So if I do get additional points in level up, I would probably just put all my points into Might for now, and then even things out later. But since I don't know that, I think I'm gonna put a couple points in there. There. I think that's okay. I mean, I don't want to min-max I don't know how to min-max at this juncture, so... support skills, one-handed weapons, that seems pretty important to get up, but it already seems pretty high. 38 seems okay. That's pretty nice. Let's try some of these. So, athletics, let's get that up to 35. Now, subterfuge and lore, I've heard are very important. From a little bit of gameplay footage that I saw on YouTube. We're gonna get those like that. There we go. Now that doesn't leave us excelling at anything in particular. So I don't know. Maybe I should redistribute some of these. No, we'll do it like that. It's not quite ideal, I guess, but I have no idea. Okay, Conquest Mode. Let's get into the story.
All the world has fallen to Kyros, and now the Overlord's eye is on the Tiers, our home. The last corner of the world free of Kyros' reign. 2 armies, the Disfavored and the Scarlet Chorus, march south from the Northern Empire, the last realm to fall to Kyros a century prior. In the early days of 428, Kyros' armies arrive at the Gates of Judgment, the mountainous border that we Tiersmen so long believed unassailable. Unable to agree on a unified plan of defense, the various leaders of the Tiers sit and wait for each other to deal with the conquerors, until it's too late.
Okay, now I have seen gameplay footage of this section, and I love the presentation. I think it's very cool. It's almost like the opening of the Game of Thrones series, just with these little cities. But of course they're not building up mechanically. But I love this anyway. The Bastard City stood on the northern border between Kyros' empire and the Tiers. Built upon a natural harbor at the crossroads between realms, the city was a nexus of commerce. Hence the name, Bastard City. It's full of bastards. To the Tiers, it was the center of all wealth, and wealthy bastards. To a northerner, it was a little more than a backwater trading post. Its symbolic status as a gateway to the continent made it a natural first target in Kyros' military conquest. Circumstances were ideal for me, the Fatebinder, to prove my worth as a soldier in Kyros' armies. Taking this city would send a message to the rest of the Tiers. Kyros' will is insurmountable. It cannot be surmounted. Okay, so we get a choice. Now, as I understand it, we get like 3 choices throughout this little section. So we can go to the Gates of Judgment, where the battle is happening, and we choose which side we want to be on, or we can infiltrate the Tiers. Now, I'm thinking I'm going to play a little more subterfuge, a little more subtle fuge, and we're going to infiltrate the Tiers. So, history would remember the Gates of Judgment as the first battle of the Conquest, but the real combat unfolded with advanced units of both armies preparing for the coming war. The Disfavored and Scarlet Chorus each had a plan to infiltrate the capital city. Which army did I join? I joined the Scarlet Chorus, probably. Yeah, the Elite Disfavored, I think they kind of suck. They don't know true defeat, but I think they're going to learn. They're going to learn true defeat at some point in the story, you know? I'm joining the Scarlet Chorus as they raid villages and small towns, conscripting every able-bodied man and woman into the army. I like that they don't discriminate. That's nice. Everyone can fight. Or die, you know. The voices of Nerad emphasize the rewards of conscription and enslavement over wanton bloodshed. And I agree. Apparently his soldiers needed the reminder. I guess they're not the nicest bunch. Solidarity is a hard lesson to learn. The howling mobs of the Scarlet Chorus found easy pickings amongst the villagers and frontier towns, rallying an experienced gang under my control. I flooded the unprotected settlements with a deluge of bloodthirsty soldiers, rounding up the innocent for merciless rites of conscription. And they will not be so innocent anymore, I guess. The young and infirm alike received makeshift weapons, and examples were made of all who challenged your forces. Bolstered with fresh recruits, my army gathered strength for the invasion to come. Excellent. Let's go on to choice number 2. Inside agent or containing the fire. Mages of the Wild Wrath School. Or inside agent. I think I'm going to go with this. I like corrupting a few people, alright? They wanted to get a captain of the guard to sell military secrets. That's pretty smart, I guess. Or we can come to an arrangement with a well-connected smuggler who knew how to sneak agents of the Scarlet Chorus behind the city walls. That, I think, is even better. We're going to go with the Scarlet Chorus. They seem to be my kind of people. After accepting his deserved payment, the smuggler uncovered a long-forgotten tunnel that intersected with the sewers of the Bastard City. Armed with maps of the subterranean layout, my Scarlet Chorus allies fanned out to occupy various city districts under cover. They spent the ensuing weeks murdering key officials and sabotaging defenses wherever possible, weakening the tier's capital under the very noses of its leaders. Haha, we're right under your noses. You can smell us. Betrayal of the Bastard City. My tactics of infiltration placed me at the Bastard City ahead of the main armies. My work softened the city defenses for the arrival of Kyros' forces, but I wanted a decisive gesture that would give my allies a meaningful advantage. How did I assist in the fall of the Bastard City? We challenged the commander of the Bastard City's defense to an honorable fight to the death? Probably not. I am a lawbreaker. I don't think I could be that kind of person. Spreading the word of Kyros, I converted the poor and disaffected into a hidden army of the Scarlet Chorus. That sounds super badass. Keeping to the shadows, I eliminated the leaders of the Bastard City one by one, and if I go over orange text, it gives me additional background information, apparently. Okay. So I can go Assassin's Creed, communist or anarchist insurrection, or this friggin' nonsense here. We're gonna go with this. Let's go with the Scarlet Chorus. Scarlet Chorus all the way. It didn't take much to convince the Bastard City's downtrodden that Kyros was the superior power. I armed them with weapons and knowledge of a signal that I would raise when the time was right. And as the armies appeared outside the walls, I ignited the spark that fanned their anger into a full-scale riot. The chaos they spread in Kyros' name weakened the city to such an extent that its inevitable fall was all but a formality. And looks like we did some serious damage to that city. Put a couple craters in it. That's pretty crazy. What did that? Magic? Okay, so the Bastard City settled into a new state of normalcy, with 2 big craters in the city. Every tower displaying Kyros' banner, my name was whispered alongside rumors of a decorated career to come. The armies divided into 2 fronts and migrated south. Tunon sent word that you were to join the next frontier of Kyros' conquest, either as a judge and overseer of the settlement of Lethian's Crossing, or as a war advisor with the armies advancing into the realm of Apex. So basically, I'm a lawyer or judge, or some sort of like Judge Dredd kind of thing. So it kind of makes a lot of sense that I would go to Lethian's Crossing. And a war advisor seems more exciting. But yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of into the logistical stuff, so let's do that. Deposits of iron made the settlement of Lethian's Crossing a strategic war asset. Kyros sent forge-bound smith mages of exceptional skill to establish a flow of weaponry. That sounds really important. Let's go there. I mean, you know, the conquest part is important too, I guess, but... Lethian's Crossing. Years ago, Lethian the Bold founded a small merchant town at the intersection of ancient old walls. A pact between the settlers and a mercenary company meant the caravans were able to travel without fear of bandits or bane, and the town thrived in modest insignificance. I would like to highlight bane and understand what that means, but there's no option. Lethian's Crossing drew Kyros' attention for the iron deposits in the surrounding hills. With the region under Kyros' control, the northern smith mages could set up workshops to refine ore and arm the disfavored with the finest weapons in the known world. I don't like the disfavored, though. Why would I want to arm them? The Archon of Secrets dismantled the mercenary support with generous bribes, taking the crossing in a bloodless victory. Tunon dispatched me to travel alongside Kyros' forces and bring order to the region. Okay, well, I mean, let's see what we can do. The iron must flow. I mean, screw the spice, guys. We need iron. Or the Cult of Siren. That's pretty cool. Or Shireen. I don't know if maybe she's a Persian lady. Shireen, the Archon of Song, used her arcane charm to lure locals into joining Kyros' army. As a patroness of the Scarlet Chorus, her efforts were critical to the conscription of new recruits. When an enthralled, disfavored soldier joined her cult, his company feared that the Archon was growing out of control and needed to be stopped. But she's so good at conscripting. Kyros' smith mages worked day and night to create weapons. No one faulted their dedication, yet production was low. The plans that came to light proved divisive to the disfavored and Scarlet Chorus. On one hand, any additional manpower was needed for the fighters, not forges. On the other hand, the celebrated weaponry of Kyros' armies needed to be fiercely guarded. We could conscript beastmen. Or we can... I don't know. I think I'd rather deal with Shireen, to be honest. Or Siren. I don't know how she says this name. We can destroy her cult. Oh, that sounds a bit drastic. Sounds like they're just jealous that they don't know how to conscript a lot of good people. Or, in Scarlet Chorus tradition, I can send the latest batch of cultists to the front lines of the Apex campaign. Those who survived were welcome to remain in Kyros' military, and their performance would stand as a testimony to Shireen's effectiveness. Yeah, I mean, that sounds like the friggin' obvious choice, really. I mean, send them to the front lines in Apex over there somewhere. Isn't that what we're here for, logistically? The Scarlet Chorus agreed to transfer Shireen's latest recruits to the front lines of the Apex campaign. Your resolution fit their traditional model of conscription, so they considered it a fair alternative. In the weeks to come, more of them returned to active duty than ever, Shireen herself expected. Likely owing to their obsessive devotion to the Archon and her enchanting music. So she's like a pop idol. Pop idol of the ancient times, who can lure people to their deaths. A red anvil, one of Kyros' smith mages, swore allegiance to the Scarlet Chorus. Jealously hoarding the secret of iron forging, the disfavored demanded the smith's immediate return. The Scarlet Chorus insisted that they were within their rights to take allegiance from any source. Tempers flared and the forges cooled as arguments stalled productivity. I mean, that seems kind of important. What's the other one? Ancient threats. Drawn to the arcane energy around the forges, mystical predators from the nearby old walls began to raid Lethian's Crossing at all hours. Both of Kyros' armies reserved their strength for the front lines of the war, and yet the city required protection. You had to delegate the responsibility somewhere. As the largest army, I could task the Scarlet Chorus with the burden of security. The disfavored took the opportunity to gather their strength. Or, since the disfavored used most of the iron that came out of Lethian's Crossing, it could fall to them to stand as the city's vigilant protectors. The Scarlet Chorus enjoyed a necessary reprieve. Yeah, I mean, if you're enjoying the iron, you should guard it. Though the disfavored were averse to my ruling, they couldn't argue with the reasoning behind it. They rallied in the streets of Lethian's Crossing, patrolling on alert in shifts that lasted day and night in an impressive show of force. They managed to repel several attacks from the predators in districts that would have otherwise suffered great harm. Able to do some good, the disfavored still detested you for keeping them from battle with their real enemies in the tiers. I don't know, I mean, if this image is any indication, whatever they're fighting now is pretty important. I mean, it looks like demonic, you know? Of course, that could just be an exaggeration. Who knows? Who controls the crossing? I do. Tragedy struck when a mercenary hired by the voices of Nerat injured a forge-bound artisan, leaving him unable to practice his craft. Tunon ordered the mercenaries to leave the city in the hands of Kyros' more responsible servants. Only a token garrison could be left behind while the armies returned to the front, as the disfavored and Scarlet Chorus showed increasing tension and hostility toward each other. Tunon decreed it best that only one force control the crossing. Who should control the crossing? I mean, they use the iron, but I kind of favor the Scarlet Chorus, if I'm totally honest. I'm not the most unbiased Fatebinder. The Scarlet Chorus flooded Lethian's crossing with overeager and undisciplined recruits. In the first few days of occupation, settlers suffered under rampant theft, murder, and, oh god, no, and arson. Oh, well, that kinda sours my decision, doesn't it? By the following week, the hordemen who sowed chaos for personal gain were dead, strung up by the more disciplined half that took up the reins as the self-appointed bosses of Lethian's crossing. The Forgebound continued to mint iron weapons and armor, which Kyros' merchants carted to the disfavored garrisons elsewhere in the tiers. Shipments were light, or sometimes absent. The Scarlet Chorus quartermaster claimed ignorance of this matter. Oof. Yeah. I'm sorry for the locals there that I sentenced them to that. Okay, well now we have 3 choices. Azure. Kyros dispatched the Archon of Stone to subjugate the nation of Azure. That doesn't tell me a whole lot about the situation, though, does it? With its easily defended position and rich military tradition, the realm of Stalwart was the most formidable realm in the tiers. Okay, so that basically tells me it's going to be like a big military battle. Kind of like Apex might have been. Or the Vellum Citadel. Kyros' conquering gaze fell upon the Vellum Citadel, its treasures, its knowledge, its secrets. That sounds pretty cool. I mean, looking at the image, this looks like farmland, and that seems like it would be pretty cool. But the Vellum Citadel also seems pretty cool. I think I'm gonna go there. Why is this one blue? And the other two are gray. Is it encouraging me to go to Azure? Or is it blue because it's called Azure? That's too obvious. Okay, we're gonna go to the Vellum Citadel. It seems I like secrets. Let's work with that. Let's go to the library, everyone. Looks like a maze. Is it supposed to look like a maze? The Vellum Citadel was an archive and library of massive scale. Its inhabitants were known as the School of Ink and Quill, a circle of mages that centuries ago carved out their own mountainous refuge on lands unsettled by the other major realms. Legends said that the Citadel housed a treasure trove of arcane knowledge. The Overlord's spies infiltrated the school and confirmed as much. The time was ripe to send a detachment to the great library fortress and force the scholars to yield to Kyros. To Kyros. Let's do it. Song of Ensnarement. Oh, so Shireen is with me again. Okay. So she can use her power to enthrall the enemy mages who crept beyond the Citadel walls. So basically we can recruit them. Or, Chain of Command, a detachment of Kyros' army marched on the Vellum Citadel, expecting an orderly surrender as they neared the main gates. So all the commanders died. That's so stupid. Why would they off themselves? Why would they be so clumsy? Suddenly, the highest ranking officer alive, Kyros' forces looked to me for the next steps. The call weighed on my mind as it had an immediate influence on soldiers' losses. So we can do the battle, or I think this is more interesting though. The Song of Ensnarement. The disfavored began executing the new captives before they could share dangerous knowledge, a crime under Kyros' law with the Scarlet Chorus. Yeah, they need to be punished for that. My god, the disfavored are so stupid. They really suck. I have to go with the Scarlet Chorus on this one. Several disfavored soldiers will be given to the Archon of Song as her personal bodyguards. That's neat. The wisdom of the sages and knowledge of the Vellum Citadel were too important to silence. The disfavored balked at entering the Archon's service, but my ruling left them with no recourse. Archon Shireen delighted in having new toys to play with, and promptly enthralled her personal guard. You spotted them in camp days later, following their new mistress with wide-eyed devotion. It's like, oh my god, it's Lady Gaga, or whatever equivalent she would be. Ariana Grande. The Arcana song incited the Scarlet Chorus recruits to fight their leaders. What? Bosses were killed and supplanted left and right. The disfavored commanded an end to the practice for the good of the conquest. Or Spymaster's agents? Question mark. A group of enemy mages surrendered to the disfavored, claiming to be spies loyal to the voices of Nerat. No one in the army could verify the claim. The disfavored readied to interrogate the mages, but the Scarlet Chorus protested, demanding that the prisoners be given to their custody. They couldn't risk the voices of Nerat's secrets falling to the wrong hands. Huh, that's kind of tricky. I don't know which one to go for. Spymaster's agents or the right of command? I kind of don't want to stop Shireen from doing her thing. She seems kind of cool. And this seems a little more... like, we need to punish the disfavored for doing stupid things. So that is my final answer. Scarlet Chorus accepted the mages into their company with gratitude. After secreting them within tents and out of earshot, I presume that a discussion or interrogation followed. When asked about it the following day, the Scarlet Chorus admitted that they sent the mages to the voices of Nerat with an escort, dispatching them under cover of night without due authorization. I reprimanded the soldiers for keeping me out of the loop, but there was naught else to be done in the matter. Oh no, the Edict of Fire! Disgusted by my approbation of the Scarlet Chorus, the disfavored forces withdrew from the field of battle. My small detachment now lacked the manpower to take Vellum Citadel. Tunon sent word that Kyros' patience had run thin. The Overlord would cast an Edict of Fire on the enemy. So the disfavored just quit? Isn't that like treason or something? Can't we just cast the edict on them instead? The parchment arrived in a slender case of engraved iron. Written on it, the words of a spell powerful enough to destroy the Vellum Citadel. Wow, I guess if we can't have it, no one can. You had the right choice. You had the choice of when to read the edict. Reading it at sunrise would offer your enemies no warning of the devastation to come. You could also wait until sunset, giving them ample time to flee or make amends. And the different armies wish for a different outcome. So the disfavored want me to read it at the moment of dawn and kill everyone inside the Citadel, which is stupid. They're so stupid. Claiming they still had spies within the Citadel, the Scarlet Chorus urged me to warn the mages of the Overlord's edict. Granting their request, I met with the enemy under a blue flag of peace. So instead of a white flag, it's a blue flag of peace, and warned them of their doom, giving the Chorus spies and the enemy a chance to run. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Of course, we got to be fair. We're going to destroy your library, but I still care about you. I confronted the mages with a warning, and hoped the message was received. The hour before sunset, numerous figures were spotted fleeing the Citadel. As the sun dipped under the horizon, I read the words of the edict. The earth shook, and red-orange light glowed in the foundation of the sprawling Citadel, bubbling up from under the library. A torrent of lava. The floor became lava, literally. That's crazy. With explosive force gushing from windows and between loose bricks, melting winding trenches into the surrounding land. Days later, the flames still raged on. The conflagration continually fed and renewed by the power of the edict. The floor became lava, and... oh, now it's a mountain. That's crazy. Oh, it's like a volcano just erupted in the Citadel. That's insane. Hail Kyros. That guy is powerful. That guy or girl, I don't really know. Guy or gal. Guy or lady. The armies of Kyros left the devastation of the Vellum Citadel in silence. From that day forward, the Tears came to know the once noble Citadel as the Burning Library. It was an undisputed loss of resources, knowledge, culture, and life, but a message had been sent. The Overlord will not tolerate defiance. I didn't have long to rest before Tunon called me into service once more. I was one of the last to depart from the mountains, and as I journeyed off, I spotted a few campfires in the mountains. They were mere specks, dwarfed by the inferno, the last gasps of survivors, or perhaps looters from Kyros' armies, bored and daring enough to pick through the ashes. You would need some fireproof gloves for that, I imagine. Well, we could, of course, replay the Conquest, but no, that's silly. So I think the point of that is supposed to be that those choices are going to matter. They're going to change some big things throughout the game. And we'll find out exactly what changes.
The year is 431, and Kyros' invasion has shattered all major opposition in the tiers. The Younger Realms, the Bastard Tier, the Free Cities. All who defied Kyros lay broken by battle, or bowed in surrender. The two armies of the Overlord, the Disfavored and the Scarlet Chorus, now control our lands. But our will is not yet extinguished. Not entirely. In the Valley of Vendrian's Well, those of us unwilling to bow to Kyros have banded together in defiance. Violating an oath of surrender from 2 years prior, we have staged a bloody uprising, murdering the Disfavored and Scarlet Chorus garrison in a midnight assault. With their main forces spread across the tiers, the Disfavored and Scarlet Chorus redeploy to Vendrian's Well to crush the resistance, but months pass with no definitive battle. As disagreement and discord paralyze the Archons, we bide our time and wait for our message of insurrection to spread across the tiers. The Overlord is not amused, and Kyros has one message for the Archons: crush the Oathbreakers or die. Kyros backs this threat with an edict, a magical commandment that can slay all in the valley should the order be ignored. The honor of proclaiming this edict fell to you. Sent across the mountains to Vendrian's Well, you carry the Overlord's edict to read before the Archons. As you finally make your way through the winding mountain passes into the valley, the ground trembles, and Kyros' magic seals the way behind you. You are trapped in Vendrian's Well, with Kyros' armies and the Oathbreakers. The only way to survive is to fulfill the terms of the Overlord's edict, in any way that you can.
Okay. Alrighty then. We'll do just that. Bleeding statue, that's grim. Fatebinder Durgo, I presume? We've been expecting you. Nice. Okay, well, now that we're into the actual gameplay, I'm going to cut this episode here, and we're actually going to start playing in the next episode. So if you actually did watch through all that character creation and conquest mode, thank you so much. I hope you'll follow along for the next series of episodes. If you skipped this episode, that's fine, but you also probably can't hear me talking right now, so screw you! Either way, I hope to catch you next time. Thank you so much. Red Zed out. See you next time.